Hey, Pearl, how are you today? Hey, and here's Minnie. Look at that pretty flowers I just planted. What? Oh, you're right. I almost forgot. Another day of soul care.
Hi, everybody. How are you? And happy day of SoulCARE. And it's February 6th, I believe. Is that right? I'm good. February 6th it is. How are you? I hope you're all doing very, very well. It's been a little bit of a while since I've been here live. So as life continues on. Hi, Ann. Ann Buffington. You're always like the first one up, which good for you, baby. Hi, Corinna. Hi, Susan. Good morning. I'll wait till a lot of people get on. It's so funny. I look at that opening with Minnie and Pearl, and I have another one because Minnie is, of course, with another person, but Pearl's gotten so much bigger. She's big. She's 45 pounds, and she's a big girl. Don't tell her that because she thinks she's a puppy, still like tiny, and she just bangs into me. I'm like, my nose black and blue. So just spent an hour and a half with her at the dog park this morning. Meeting some very nice people at the dog park, not like dog people, and some really, really nice, real people. I mean, gosh, it's just great. That's my social life now. Hi, Diane Nancy. Hello. Sin, Lori Clark. Hello. Rena Tempest. Hi, Vicky. Hello. I love Pearl. I know Pearl's such a lover. Hi, Phil. What part of the UK you're from, Phil? And Sylvia. Hello. Wanda. Hello from Cleveland. Yes. Our thoughts are the people with that train tragedy over there. And you too, Courtney. Hi, Courtney. Marianne McCarthy. Well, hello, Marianne. Welcome, Marianne. So Marianne's checking things out. Good. Valerie, hello. Kathy, hello. Teresa, hello. How many dogs do I have? Right presently, I have one. I had two, and then one went to, Minnie went to a boy who was, you might have seen on the Facebook Live, you might not have. He went to a little boy who was being bullied at school, and he said to his mom, all he wants is a blue Merle, and he knew about Minnie, and I gave Minnie to his mom and the little boy, and there was a 90-minute video circulating on social media from when the boy was introduced to Minnie. He opened up his bedroom door, and there was Minnie sitting on his bed, and he started crying his eyes out, and there was 90 minutes of them together, her kissing him, and now they're just totally connected. So that's where Minnie is, and Pearl sees her, and Pearl goes to daycare in a place close by here, and all the people at the doggy daycare, and they take great care of these dogs. They don't want to let Pearl go in the afternoon. I said, she's got to come back home. I said, well, we love her too much. I said, well, that's sorry. I'm sorry. So do I. Anyway, so that's Pearl. So I have one right now. Maybe thinking about getting another one within the year. A rescue, a little small rescue for Pearl because she has this motherly instinct. So if I did go to the rescue to get the dog, I'd bring Pearl with me and see which doggy she likes. So I'm thinking about it. Okay. Angel Light, hello. Marion Anderson, hello. Thanks, Marion McCarthy, for sharing. Geriatric, Courtney, Claire, you have 3 geriatric dogs. Well, good for you, sweetheart. Hi there, Mike and Linda. Oh, thank you. Nonia, thank you. I adore you too. Thank you. It's very sweet of you. Hi, Peggy Tripp. Great idea. Yeah. Hi, Sam. I thought today we'd just mention a couple of things that are going on that you might not be aware of. If you are, here's a reminder. But right now on the docket of things that remember every Thursday I do an intense soul care. So this Thursday I'll be doing an intensive, and it's going to be about the life coaching course that's on sale right now. And registration closes the 15th. So now is the time to register. I'm going to go more in detail this Thursday about more, of course, exercises that are involved in the course, what the course is more about, how to answer questions. That's this Thursday, Soul Care Intensive. And also, so that you can register now for the Life Coach course if you'd like to, and go to my school, the JP School, Miss School, to find out more about it. And then I also want to mention 2 more things. That March 5th at 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to be doing a Zoom call with my good friend, Gordon Smith from Scotland. Right now we're developing a TV show, which is interesting. It'll be a funny thing. I'm not going to say anything else about it until it happens. But Gordon Smith and I are going to talk about modern mediumship and how to work as a medium online and Zoom, and then really how to use the technical advances we have, technology that we have at our hands here, marketing wise. Also, how to do what's the benefit of doing Zoom calls, doing stuff in person? How do you market to your audience? What's the difference between doing a Zoom call with mediumship, but not, and different techniques as well that we've both used. And really, we're two of the longest living mediums that right now out there together have been over 100 years of work. So, and then in 100 plus. So, and he's like my brother from another mother. And if you haven't met Gordon Smith, you need to. He's incredible. So you can go to my website, ventprog.com, and register there. And Renee put that up there right now. It's a modern day mediumship, a live online course from 10 to 1. And it's always great. And it's just such information. I just want to see what else we have here. So, and we're also going to talk about, what's the difference as far as online? What are the benefits of doing online, like a demonstration? And how do you do a demonstration online than you would be in a regular audience? What's the difference in a personal reading online than in person? Benefits, the pros and cons of all. So, modern day mediumship is changing, as we all know. And there we go. We're to the old ones talking about it, which is interesting because things have changed. So we're doing that. And the next big thing I want to talk to you about was really about the cruise I'm doing in August, which is my 65th birthday cruise. And it's in Alaska. And it's going to be pretty great. Stepping to the spirit world, an Alaska cruise. And I'm going to do an event beforehand for those who sign up, but not if there's those sign up, just someone to have Alaska cruise. We're going to have a free online event to talk all about what's going to happen in the cruise. And it's going to be pretty cool about how the different exercises I'm going to be using to blend in with the spirit world, to be aware of the spirit world, to bring your mind to a space of settlement, be settled in the mind, where you're very, very aware of those shores of the spirit world and what's going on over there. A friend of mine who just recently passed, about Cindy Williams, who's a good friend, and she went, whoa, thanks, Cindy. My set just fell down. Hold on. My screen. Thanks, Cindy. Was that you? All right, there we are. There's my set. I don't disclose my filing that needs to be done behind me. So anyway, and the lighting is better with that. Anyway, she said to me, and I was going to do Both Sides Now and Beyond last Monday, but I didn't do it because Kelly had informed me of her passing just 5 minutes before we went on air. So we're going to do this show tonight about life before life. What happens? How do you pre-plan your life before you come back here? Really interesting show, phenomenal, and it's just so much information. So we do that tonight. But Cindy has come through to me, obviously behind me. Just before I came on this call, I was downstairs and I found this old picture of her. I moved something and there was a picture of her right there, which is very interesting. And the other day she told me how, and I'll go into more detail tonight about this, but how she was caught up in the brilliance of everything. So I'll be discussing that tonight in this show, Life for Life, and Both Sides Now. So that's that. But the mediumship, I'm going to talk a lot about the cruise is August the 19th to 25th, and that's on my website. And we're going to really work an immersion. It's going to be an immersion cruise, not only a cruising along the Alaskan coast, but you're also going to be emerging into the spirit levels. And I'm going to help each individual to work into the level that they're at. And part of it's going to be getting away from the fear and the limitations of the mind and letting themselves settle into that space of spirit. So I'm going to be using help from the spirit world. We'll be introduced to people from the spirit world around me and around you. Your guides will be connected to the guides right away. Be aware of who's going to help you on your journey, on this spiritual journey. As we cruise through Alaska and the coast of Alaska, we're also going to cruise within and around us. But you're first going to be aware of who your captains are in the spirit, who are going to guide you and take your hand and escort you through their different realms and have different experiences. So it's called Stepping into the Spirit World. I'm really looking forward to it. And it's also going to be my 65th birthday. So we're going to celebrate my birthday on board the ship. And registration closed April 20th. And they're selling out the cabins fast. Ron Oyer, who does the life journeys that I'm working with and works around for 30 years now, he just emailed me, said cabins are going quickly because it's the best time of the year to go in August. So if you are interested, seriously, we have about 60 more spaces open, and the inside cabins and balconies are going quickly. So if you're interested, now's the time to sign up. And I'm not pushing, I'm just telling you the information, but it's a great cruise too. And I am pushing you to do a great cruise. It's a great cruise. I was just talking this morning at the dog park to someone about it. And they said, Alaska's been one of my favorite cruises. I said, yeah, it's my 4th time going, and it just happens to be my birthday. And it's going to be a memorable time in my life. So I look forward to sharing that with everybody here. Okay. There you go. Thank you, Renee. Put it under my name there in the comments there in the chat. You can see the link. Thank you, Renee. Hi, Lori Smith. Any of us can come. You don't have to do professional reading. You don't have to be a medium. It's open to the general public from the very beginning. And actually, it'd be better if you're not a medium because we don't have preconceived ideas or notions. So it would be really much better for us just go in and have an opening of the mind and see what happens. That's the best way, Lori. So thanks for asking that question. Louis Trevison. So if questions like to ask me, feel free to right now, like general questions that would help everybody. It's perfect. But I'm going to push that Alaska cruise because it's going to be a good one. You don't want something to pass you by that could be part of. There you go, stepping in the spirit world. And we're going to do readings on board the ship. You're going to do readings yourself on the ship. We're going to talk about soul groups on the ship. You're going to be aware of what the soul groups are. I'm doing past life regression as well. And interesting to see what fears we hold on to in this life and the patterns that we have in this life, which have been directly from a past life experience or past lives experience. I'm in the middle of reading Harry's book, Spare. And it's funny because I know I'm going to meet Harry and Megan. I just know it's in my future. I was supposed to do a reading for Diana in July, the year that she passed. And I just know that he knows of me. And I just know somehow to run into him. And it's interesting because I'm going to live up in Santa Barbara for a little bit. I'm renting a place up there to work at the spiritual center. So interesting that I know I'm going to run into him. But I'm finding as I read that book that he talks about current day there in the royal family. And I keep on going back to past lives of Victorian days and not me personally, but observing stuff. So it's really interesting. It's almost like a doorway that opens up to other lifetimes. And that's what I'm going to be doing with the ship. With the ship, we're going to be opening up the doorways to other past experiences of life, why we are the way we are in this current life. So it'll be a total immersional trip. Really good one. Okay, questions you might have. Just Joni, I'm a medium and I'm looking forward to your cruise. Good. I've been trying to meet you for years and I feel we have a meeting connection. Great, Joni. I hope to meet you. I look forward to meeting you. That's great. Paul Lambert from Laguna Woods. Hi, Paula. How are you? I know Laguna Woods very well. I lived in Laguna Beach for 17 years. Very good. Hi, Kimberly from Missouri. Emil. Hi, Emil. Hi, James. How are you? I'm good now, Emil. Thank you. Just wondering if you heard of shadow people. I'm reading a good book about it. Very fascinating subject. Also experienced something like it when I was a little boy. So that's interesting, shadow people. I don't like labeling things, but and people have a different connotation and meaning behind that term, shadow people. Some people think it means earthbound spirits. And as my good friend Gordon Smith says, the only earthbound people are us that are living here because we're earthbound, but spirits have no reason to stay here. And I do believe that. I do believe that to a point. I do think the mind controls us and mind takes us or holds us back. So shadow people have heard of those spirits have not fully evolved. So I'm not sure, but there could be fragments of the soul that's closer to the earth. When I was first developing as a medium, I remember very clearly that I was just in that twilight state. I was just kind of getting to the waking state. And I remember kind of coming down this tunnel or falling down, but gently, just becoming aware. And as I was, these hands were reaching out to me. And I would call them like shadow people, if it felt like it. And that's what I can say. They worked on it a lot, shadow people, like concept in the show Ghost Whisperer that I was working on. The writers came up with this shadow people. And unfortunately, they didn't use me to ask about that because they presented in a very strange way. And it wasn't, as I say, real how they depicted it. But so I don't know if it's fragments of that soul. Some people, it depends on the interpretation. Some people think it's earthbound spirits. So do they exist? I don't know. I just think maybe it's fragments of the soul. That's my personal feeling. Could be wrong. Okay, thank you. Hi, Susan. I read your book about different levels of passing. Very good. And how young you were when you started seeing. Yes, I am glad you have mastered your spirituality. Thank you. Thank you, Susan. And you know, Susan talks about when I was young. I mentioned this the other day on my other show that when I was a young boy, 6 or 7 years of age, I used to daydream in school because I'm not a morning person. Of course, now I'm shifted to being a morning person because of my doggy. But I remember going to school at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I used to be in my homeroom, like passing out. And I remember those twilight states that I used to see spirit all the time in the classroom. I remember a young boy, Willie, came through William came through the window, and he handed me a piece of paper, and on that piece of paper was a design. And that design was, hold on, let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Let's see. Yes, I do. Here it is. So the design was really interesting because that design was something. He handed me a piece of paper with this design, and it was like I saw it. It wasn't physical, but I saw it, and I all of a sudden started doodling until my Catholic teacher said, "Mr. Van Prague," or James, whatever she. Anyway, he said, you're not gonna know this, but years from now you will." I'm like, oh. So when I was writing this book, Growing Up in Heaven, and that was about children that have passed over in the spirit world, and how that started, I was in my office one morning, and I walked in my office, and all these young spirit children are there, which is rare for me to see all these groupings of kids. And I said, "What are you all doing here?" And they said, "We're going to help you write your next book." And I'm like, "What?" And they did, and that was Growing Up in Heaven. And at the very end of the book, I thought I have to depict something because I talk about the soul and the different layers and levels of soul. Susan was mentioning, and they knew then after it was 45 years since that little design, that picture came to me from William when I was in grade school. And I remembered that's a picture of the soul. I have to put that in this book. So at the very end of this book, I put it in there, and there's the design that I was given. That's like sacred geometry 144. Yeah. Soul imprint. There's our blueprint. And all those pieces are almost like lifetimes, if you will. That's what I was given, and that made sense. So, here, this is interesting. I'll read it to you. Oh, his name was Joey, sorry. Then he was ready to leave. Joey said, "This may not make sense to you now, but when you get older, you will understand that this is an imprint of your soul, and each diamond is one lifetime. That brings color to your being." Then, as quickly as he appeared, he vanished. I was surprised, but mostly skeptical. I thought that I was dreaming the whole thing, that it was all in my head. School finally let out, and I was glad to get home. As soon as I walked the door, I grabbed some pencil and a paper and a pencil and began to draw my vision. Below is exactly what I saw. Let's see. Isn't that wild? Let me see. There you go. The soul imprint. That's pretty cool. You never know when things come back to you when you have it in your mind. Okay, another question. Hi, Mary Murphy. I've been dreaming a lot about childhood lately. Not sure why. Any insights? Well, it could be also, Mary, that there are certain things with childhood, that certain experiences that you had that need to be looked at and go deeper with. Maybe that are affecting in present life this time right now. What from your past or childhood has not been resolved? Maybe something's not been resolved, or there's some trauma or something you need to know more that perhaps could help you in some things that are going on right now in present day. So I would do that. Maybe in a meditation, closing your eyes and relaxing and sitting in that stillness of your being, you can go to those moments in your childhood that stick out, or the dreams that you have, and write them down and see where do they come from? Why are you dreaming that? And just write down why, and it'll come to you the reason why. I say this all the time. I said this last week. I said it again. I always draw those little circles. And I'll say, let's say there's a childhood memory I have. Say it's a birthday party. So 8-year-old birthday party, and I put this circle. And then my mind will take me to like a line of what's holding on to that. What's that? That's a memory attached to. Is there a meaning behind that? Why is it so important in my life story? So these are life story moments. So I think that would be really interesting to do that. And again, the more we have an art of discovery, a sense of curiosity, the more that it'll be answered. So, and it helps us in that. And I always find that when you have that sense of curiosity, that art of discovery, it opens up your mind and it lets your mind wander. And it helps you with getting away from that human limitation, because the human mind wants to be critical and limited. And having a sense of curiosity or discovery, just that alone opens you up, because, wow, what's that going to be like? So you're not putting limitations, you're actually removing those walls. So it's a good way to open up. Thanks, James. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Hi, Marjan. I had a very successful healing session with Medium last week. Very good. Excellent. I'm so grateful and happy, but sadly, my personal environment doesn't believe in it and think it's just a placebo effect. Good. That's good. So it doesn't matter what your personal environment, whether partners or family, believe. It has nothing about them. It's about you. What other people think of you is none of your business. As long as you've experienced it and you felt it was for you anyway, that resonated as truth, then that's all you need. You can never force people to believe. I mean, I've been doing this over 40 years now, and incredible details have come through evidential. And you tell people, like, oh, come on, that's just this or that. They'll try to put it away. And who knows why? Maybe they're just fearful. People mostly fear the unknown. And until someone has that experience, they can't tell. So don't be upset, sweetheart, about that. It's just, remember, it's for your journey, for your spiritual growth, and good on you. And don't take away from that healing session, because that was pretty major. And many times segments with a medium are healing sessions. So don't let it take it away from you. If anything, you've got to be discerning of who can accept it and who can't. You can't force someone to believe, whether a partner or family. You just can't. Keep it for yourself. That's all we can do. Many times, just plant the seeds, throw it out there, and when they're ready to grow, they will. But they got fertile ground. But I wouldn't waste my time. I used to deal with a little skeptics all the time in this work when I first started. I opened the door for everyone because no one was out there doing this on television myself. And I deal with all the skeptics who were telling me things that weren't true. That I created, they had a term called cold reading. I didn't even know what it meant. And I swear this is a very true story. I actually said this on Oprah's show, that there was a man, Michael Shermer, of the Skeptical Inquirer, whatever that is, and literally said that, and I mentioned this on her show, he accused me of having a connection with everyone. This is before the internet, by the way, was big. So I said to her, well, if I have a line in everyone's life, I'd be more important than the CIA. How could I do that? So, it was just that level of stupidity, of ignorance, we should say, of that. It's ignorance, and ignorance is bliss. There are people that in your life, as we grow and become aware of our own journey, our own spirituality, that we're going to run into people that are I call limited, that aren't aware. Maybe you're a 7th grader and you're trying to talk to a 3rd grader. They just don't have the experience, so you can't force it. They just don't know it. So just use it for yourself and be yourself, and treat yourself with love and respect and kindness, as you should. Okay, thanks, sweetheart. Okay, hi, Joni. Good to see you again. I always loved a picture of you. When I was young, I was sitting in homeroom and I looked at the clock on the wall. Saw my grandfather's face. Aha! It was and that was the very moment he passed. Very good. Yeah, that's interesting, Joni. So they can take our minds and bring it to that certain space and time. Interesting. The whole concept of time. I think Kelly White now do a show on time. I'll write that down. The illusion of time, we'll call it. The illusion of time. Because time is an illusion. And we'll get a little quantum physics. That concept of time is only relative to this 3-dimensional world, because there is no time in the other dimensions. So that's really interesting. So we'll do a little show on that one. So very good. Very good. Hi, Sharon. Would Growing Up in Heaven be a good book for my teenagers to read? Yes, but there's a better one, depending on what you want. So if you want them to be more spiritual, of their spiritual abilities, of their intuition, I wrote a book called Looking Beyond. And that was written many, many years ago now. But it's a paperback book. And it was by Simon & Schuster. And I wrote that for parents used to say to me, their kids are so psychic and they have these experiences. Do I have any books that I could help or guide? And so I wrote that book, Looking Beyond. It's called Looking Beyond, A Teenager's Guide to Life. Hold on, let me see if I have it behind me. I feel like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood here. Let's see. Do I have it? I do. I have all my books behind me. That's behind that curtain. There you go. A Teenager's Guide to the Spirit World. It's a good book. It really is a good book. It never got, and it's written really well as far as for kids, teenagers, following your intuition. May not be the logical choice. Talks about that. Lots of graphics here. There's one of me here too. Reality check. So I broke it up into little easy things for the kids to read, that they little segments, they will get bored. There's always something keeping them. Now, this is 20 years ago, so it's probably even slower for them now. But to keep their attention, I put little questions in there for them. So different exercises they can do. If you like, you can light a candle. And one of my first exercises is becoming aware of different levels of awareness, which we're actually going to do this on the cruise as well. Is a candle, and I light a candle, and you do what's called scrying, and you look into the candle, and you just put your total awareness there, and it really opens you up. So I put that in here as well. Multiple ways to develop your intuition. You have the answer. Great graphics, and then I have Spirit Says all the different times. It's done in a really easy way to digest for kids. Before everyone is in your life for you. So meeting your guides. You can change what you want, even your friends. It's all about that. Peer pressure. Oh, there I am. It doesn't look like me. I don't think so. Literally. I said, that looks like my Chinese guy. What do you mean? Reality check. Says, look at me on. Okay, that'll help. Good luck, Sharon. Okay. Hi, Vicky. Funny, I seem to always get a chill when I'm listening to you or Kelly. Well, good. I know it's my husband letting me know he is with me. The energy connection always seems to be stronger and stronger when I'm part of your groups. Love it. I get so many signs of feeling come through from him. That's great, Vicky. So why don't you sit in a regular basis, sitting in the stillness of your being and the quiet, or the cruise will really help you to get connected there. And, once you get in a certain space of surrender and you're able to make the connection, you never go back. You always go there. So if you want that, that'd be a great way to pursue it. So we're just opening up that space when you see us. So that's probably what it is. But the cruise would be good for you too, Vicky. You really would be perfect. Very good, sweetheart. Hi, Joni. What's your views on premonitions? So premonition is, again, because there's no time, your mind will pick up a situation, a scenario of something that's going to happen in the future, right? So a premonition before it happens. Premonitions are before things happen. So intuitively, again, there's no time, so you can see things in the past, things in the future, and that's really what it is. It's a view of something. I wrote a book called Heaven and Earth. I'm not going to go back and get it, but it's back there. Heaven and Earth, and in there, at the last chapter, there's all these different questions, and one of them is what is a premonition? And some of you heard this story. It's a great story. And a friend of mine, Linda, who helped me write those books, she kind of like did the grammar and filled in some spaces, and she wrote the answers to it, and then she faxed me what she wrote so I could play around with it. And I remember, never forget that I was, it was a Sunday night, and it was before my TV show Beyond was on. And I went to bed around 7:30, which was early. I know I had a beer and a shot of tequila, and I went to bed. I know that. And all of a sudden, this gentleman appeared at the end of the bed. It was energy. And it was, this energy was like Abraham Lincoln. And Abraham Lincoln, a lot of you heard this story. It's a great one, though. I said, yeah, are you Abraham Lincoln? And this image said, yes, we're the some kind of a council it was, and I am the personality you would know as Abraham Lincoln. So, okay, remember we are with you, helping you to change the consciousness of this planet. And I'm like, okay, and it was just so weird. And being this skeptical person that I am, I said, are you really Abraham Lincoln? And it went on for about a good 20 minutes, I guess, and just kept on reminding me that they're around me and that they're going to help me to help change this consciousness of the planet. I'm like, okay, and I said, but I need proof. I want proof. So this voice, this person, these beings said, you'll have your proof tomorrow. Okay. So in the morning I woke up to the phone ring, and it was a fax machine. And there was this chapter of these questions. And one of what is a premonition? And Linda wrote in a premonition is seeing a scene before it happens, like Abraham Lincoln, the famous scene of Abraham Lincoln knowing his death scene, because when he was alive, he had a dream of himself being laid out in a state, and there were 4 soldiers around him. That's well known as a premonition. And I freaked out. I was like, oh my God, Abraham Lincoln. And that night I was paying bills on my dining room table, and my wallet fell down off the table and knocked it off. And I looked down to pick it up, and there was a $5 bill with Lincoln's face looking at me. And ever since then, it doesn't happen now, but it happened for a good 10 years. Every day I'd have a reference of Lincoln, whether it was a penny when I go on stage, it'd be a penny there, or trucks and insurance, Lincoln Insurance, or a sign saying Lincoln Loans, or whatever it was. There was always a reference to Lincoln. Like, wow. So it's pretty interesting. So it's before something happens, you have a knowingness, if you will. Good story. Okay. Thanks, Joni. Vanprog.com. Hi, Courtney. Can something cause your dreams to become blocked? I can't seem to remember my dreams, even when I try to pull a memory of it as soon as I'm waking up. I know I dream, but as soon as my conscious mind, yes, that's a problem, gets it seems to pull a blanket over it. That's what it does. Just feel blocked, not just with dream, but everything. What would cause that? Well, Courtney, the best thing I did, number one, a couple of things there. Number one, I'd have a dream journal next to your bed every night. And I'd set up the intention of, I'm going to remember my dreams, or I will record my dreams in the morning. I'm going to record my dreams in the morning, and then let it go. Don't think about it anymore. Just put that out there and let it go. Because if you overthink it, you're going to block it and you won't remember it. But you just set that intention and let it go, it'll work. Trust me, it'll work. And then, again, what areas, the life coaching course is on right now would be perfect for you. If you feel like things aren't working the way you are meant to be, or you're blocked in some aspect of your life, or there are certain choices you can't make because things are blocked, whatever it might be, The life coach course right now which is on is perfect for that. I go all through different aspects of why we feel blocked, why I don't feel like we're living up to our soul's potential. So that's a great one. Oh, there it is right there. It's the spiritual life coaching certification course. Really good, really intensive, I should say. Very intensive, and very much that art of discovery of uncovering things about yourself and about your soul. And, a lot of it is, as my good friend Cindy, who just passed, came through and said, that we get in our way. We humans get in the way. We limit God. We block God being that light, that brilliance, that beauty. We block that for some reason because we're in that human mindset, a critical mind. And some of it has to do with the ego, edging God out, right? And I think that unfortunately that gets us in the way. There should be a fine balance between being grounded and of the earth, but also being of the spirit, being open-minded. And I think we have to stop trying and sometimes just surrender. And that's what I talk about. And I have like the cruise going on. And I talk about sitting in the stillness because it's being that awareness of the spaces and the fields, the realms all around us that really help us to live everyday life. That certainly has helped me live. Having this awareness of the spirit world, that we are souls having human experience, has certainly changed my life in every aspect. How I interact with people. And, the thing which is sometimes very hurtful, painful, I guess you'd say, is that when you recognize that people aren't being authentic, when you recognize that people aren't being truthful to you, and you know better. And I've had that experience, and it's like, wow, these people aren't being truthful, and don't they know who they're dealing with? I mean, hello. So that's the hard part. And you don't want to embarrass people, but you certainly want to make them aware that I know what's going on here. I know what you're saying, what you're doing, what you're not doing. And this is family and friends and all of that. You have that awareness, and it hurts when people aren't being genuine to me. Because integrity is a big deal in my life. But that's a hard part of being sensitive, seeing people's foibles, and that they think they get away with it, and then they can't. But you have to have the courage to call them on their stuff too. And it's interesting. It's very interesting. But I don't know. I think it's a good way of teaching others too that they have to have mutual respect with their partners, their families, their friends. That's what it's all about. Okay. I'm going into these diatribes when you ask questions. Hi, Susan Collison. Just wondering, you talk about we're here in Earth School. Can you fail Earth School? Can you fail Earth School? I wouldn't say fail Earth School, but maybe lessons in the school. This is school, and school's made up of lessons. And some lessons are going to be about forgiveness, compassion, understanding, healing, joy. Maybe if you don't forgive someone, maybe you're not passing that test. That test was set up for you to go within and find it deeply within yourself that there has to be some kind of sense of forgiveness, of understanding, of compassion. And sometimes when we get to the other side and we first get over there, we have what's called a life review. And we review all the different experiences we had in our life, all those different moments and scenarios when we're interacting with others, and we see that they were soul lessons to learn. And how do we handle that? Do we use understanding, or use patience, or use compassion? And it's like, for instance, I was just talking to you about when you find things about people, certain things that but are you compassionate to present it to them in a compassionate way? Because a lot of people don't understand. They don't know they did something wrong, or they just they're unaware. So you have to behave in a way where you're compassionate to them, but also make them aware in a compassionate way, not a judgmental way. So the best way to pass every single test you can is to love yourself as much as you possibly can, and love others. And I'm not talking when I say that to let people get over on you, but understanding another person, and giving them benefit of the doubt, but don't let them take advantage of you. Point things out to them that, that's where boundaries come in, that, don't behave like that to me. That's not appropriate. Whatever boundaries you put into place. The life coaching course, I talk all about boundaries. I have a whole section on boundaries there, how to use them in the right way when they're appropriate. So you can't fail Earth School, but lessons you can, many times I find it's involved with fear. And remember, life is a series of choices based upon love or fear. And so many of us live in fear. And that's a good way to fail a test or a lesson. So using love, that's the best way. Okay. Hi, Jake Care. When do you think spiritual energetic healing will be more widely accepted in our world? revolutionize medicine soon. J.K., I could just say this to you. I think it will happen. I can't give a timeline, but I will tell you this, that when I first started doing my work back in 1989, 88, 87, around there, 1990, right around there, no one did mediumship. No one really talked about mediumship. The only person I knew of it was Kevin Ryerson, who was working with Shirley MacLaine, and he was a channeler. And then there was Jay-Z Knight, who was channeling. These channelers were there. Purcell, another one who was a channeler. But no one was out there doing mediumship until I came along on a TV show called The Other Side. And I was the first medium on television to do that. And then after that came George Anderson and Larry King, then John Edwards, Sylvia Brown. But really, when I was doing it, it was rarely anyone. So, but when you look back at that, it's not that far back. It's like 1990. And now we're only, 2023. So it's not bad. It's not that, it's only 40 years. So in the scheme of things, that's pretty quick. I do think that our society, even though many times it's pretty obvious too, war and so forth, that people are freaking out. They don't have tools to live. People are getting more judgmental. There's always, I think, that part which is evolving spiritually. And listen, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we couldn't do this. Obviously, technically, we couldn't do this. But to have a group like this discussing these things, not likely. But now we're much more open and aware. Again, more TV shows on about spirituality. Yes, they go into the guise of ghosts, but at least it's opening up to the subject. And I think those shows will evolve as well. I hope my show that I'm working on gets on the air, because it's going to be a good teaching show. But I think it's happening. I would think within the next 15 years, there'll be more open. People are so open to Reiki now. A friend of mine is a Reiki practitioner down in San Diego, hospital down in San Diego. She came to visit us Wednesday, and she said when she first started 3 years ago, she couldn't find people who wanted Reiki. Now she has 50, 60 people who want it and don't even know about it, but they want that. So it's opening up on some level. Okay. Good. Looking forward to a show about time. Thanks, Ann. It's hard to get television shows done. It's a miracle that I ever got a show beyond. And this from the spirit world working on it. And the Ghost Whisperer was a really amazing, a miracle that show ever got on the air, considering all the hoops I had to jump through. And when you mix a television entertainment and spirituality, they don't necessarily mix well. But this will be a show, because the Tyler Henry show is doing very well. And this is going to be a show kind of... the OG copy of that. So it's Gordon and myself, and we're called the Happy Mediums. And it's going to be a good show with great evidence, by the way. I think John Edwards was the first on crossing over with demonstrating great evidence. And we're going to continue with that. So Gordon Smith, that's why that modern day mediumship, you guys tune into that March 5th. It'll be fun. You love Gordon, and our repartee back and forth is great. But yeah, and I think the world is ready for it. And they're waiting. We just got to get this tape for them, this presentation tape together, which we're working on. And it's going through the archives, if you will. I'm putting Gordon and myself together, demonstrating readings, and we'll travel all over the world and do stuff. But it's needed. I think it's very, very needed. And I think it'll be very, very successful. And it's really education, both teachers and to educate people. Yeah, good. Thanks, Ann. Kathy D. James, I just ordered your book, Healing Grief, as a friend of family recently passed from suicide. Thank you. Well, Kathy, my heart's out to you and your friends. And I give that book out about every day, once a day. It's a great book on grief. It really is one of the best books out there, but I believe in grief, not because I wrote it, but the information is so precise and concise. I think it'll help them. When someone does that, whether it's through suicide or a child passing away from something or an accident or whatever it might be, it many times forces us to get on a spiritual path. And I think, I don't know, the suicides are always very interesting, because I sometimes people think, oh, suicide, that was wrong, they went to hell. I don't think that. I wrote about that in my first book, Talking to Heaven, and I was wrong. My mind has changed since then. I've evolved. I do believe that there are different levels, different aware attentions behind suicide. Might be that person couldn't handle their lessons, right? The lessons to learn. They were overwhelmed. Maybe they came back at the wrong time, but they had the free will to come in when they wanted to, but things weren't in order. Maybe they agreed to go that way, so the rest of that soul group could learn in a different way about unconditional love and forgiveness. We don't know. All we do know is that there's always protection. There's always safety. There's always love. in the spirit world. And anyone who completes suicide is never alone. Soul can never die. The soul is always met, no matter what the circumstances of it leaving the body, it's always met with love and joy on the other side. They help that soul over to a new way of thinking, to a new way of being. That's the most important thing to know. So please pass that on to Kathy, to your friends, and my love to them. One thing before I get to see Mary Edelman says, I want to take the life coach course. I don't know what is stopping me. I keep on going to enroll. Any advice? Mary, I think you should sit and maybe, again, that circle thing of why won't I take the life coach? Why is it holding me back? Maybe you're fearful about, you think it's going to reveal things about you that you expect that you're not going to like. I don't think it'll do that. I think it'll open up you to ways of thinking differently. And it's a supportive course. It's nothing to attack you or judge you. It's very supportive. So it's a kind course. It's almost like I'm holding you and going through step by step. So, but you should sit with it and see, what's holding you back. Write it down. I always believe, maybe because I'm a writer, maybe, but what's holding you back? Okay. But best of luck, sweetheart. Olive, I know you had a question there. Renee put that up. Okay. Hello, James. Can you tell me what is the difference between spirituality and religion? Well, it's a good one. My definition of that, because everyone is different, I think spirituality, you are spiritual. That's a sense of realize that part of who you are is a spirit. It's that awareness of celebrating or honoring that part of yourself, which is spiritual, right? Or it could be the study of that, spiritualism, study of. Religion is man-made. So religion is a belief system that humans have created to have an awareness, or fulfill certain belief systems as what God is or is not, and have people to believe that certain way. I think that's religion. People have often asked me, do you believe in religion? I said, I do. I believe in a mindset, religion of love. That's it. I don't believe in any rules of control. I just believe in love or fear. Love is the religion. And I think that all religions have bits of the truth, but any one religion has all the truth. And I say, God is everything. God is everything, everyone. You cannot separate God. God is impossible to inseparable. You can't separate that. But human beings like to control God and like have rules applied to God, which is so ridiculous because that's just human ignorance as far as I'm concerned. And it's also a way of controlling people. Now, I do say that there are some religions, which to me, I think the community aspect of it is great. I think there's a way of believing, like we have right here. We have a community. This could be called a religion, if you will. Not a religion, but a community, I would say, is a description. But most religions can be communities of people who believe the same way. That's fine. As long as, to me, is there open-mindedness, that's fine. So, yeah, there you go. Adriana, hi, honey. How can we connect with our spirit guides? I'm new to this, but have always felt very sensitive to energies and always drawn to digging deeper. Adriana, on my school, the JP School of Mystical Arts, I have a whole guide course about how to step into that space and be aware of when the energies are around you and who these energies are, where they apply in your life. There are all different types of guides or teachers that are around, or council members that are supporting us each and every moment of our lives. But you have to take the time to sit in the quiet and get into that. And many people don't want to spend the time to do that. But I have a great course in the JVP School of Mystical Arts. That's my online school, that a whole wonderful in-depth course on guides and how to contact your guides and be aware of them. Okay. Here's one from Ruby. What do you believe about Jesus? I think Jesus was a lovely mystical being. And I think there were many mystical beings. Jesus is not the only one. I don't think Jesus wanted a religion named after him. He was just opening things up. And Jesus, who might have been a black person, black skin, by the way, not just white, could have easily had that they say God power, that energy of God so strongly within him that he created what they call miracles, or as we like to say, or I like to say, physical manifestations, which is physical mediumship. That when you have this certain energy within you, that called the God force, so strong within, you can create materializations, miracles, and have visions, clairvoyance, clairaudience, hearing. So he was a medium, but a simple man. But the politics of the time made him wanted to have a movement. So they had a figurehead, and Jesus became a figurehead that they needed for political purposes. And And then, the Bible stories and all that. I mean, I just think are Bible stories. Humans create certain stories. I think there are, again, bits of the truth and little gems to be found in any doctrine. So, but I don't believe that's just the only word. Just like the Torah is not the final word. I think we got little pieces of truth and everything. And that's like with my work too. Some people might believe in certain things I do, or the courses I have, and some may not. And that's why I say you have to be your own judge and jury. What do you feel within yourself that resonates as truth? That's where you really want to be your guidance system, GPS, your guidance, personal guidance system, PGS, personal guidance system. Okay. What preparations for ourselves, our soul group, and our spiritual counselors we go through before we reincarnate? That's tonight's show, the Both Sides Now Beyond. And that's a very in-depth show about preparing for this lifetime. That's on tonight at 6 o'clock with Kelly White and Both Sides Now. So I hope you'll join us tonight. And if not tonight, I hope you'll join me on the cruise or the Gordon event or the also the life coaching certification course. All right, friends. Okay, and don't forget this Thursday also SoulCARE Intensive. So much to remember. Write it down. I do. Yeah.